Today we are going to talk on algo trading, what exactly the system-based trading or rule-based trading or quant trading.
Whatever money you have made from trading, please pay.
You start out as a trader. Usually you would want to start out with a high winning accuracy system.
So it is not that algo trading is money making.
My entire thing started that whatever I can see, I should be able to quote.
रियलाइज कि हाँ ट्रेडिंग में भी एक अच्छे स्केल पे यू कैन रीच बिकॉज बिफोर दैट द स्केल वाज नॉट दैट ग्रेट.
In a way, a retailer would be happy to get a chance to exit through a system rather than not having the chance to do algo at all.
So hello everyone, welcome to the Traders Roundtable. Today we are going to talk on algo trading, what exactly the system-based trading or rule-based trading or quant trading, HFTs, everything we are going to learn now. So we have our traders here. So we'll start with Sourabh, you. So Sourabh, can you tell us how you got into the trading, how algo trading, how you was introduced to the algo trading?
So I come from a jewelry family, Marwadi family. So in my family, stock market is gambling. So when I started trading initially in 2014, I used to say कि मैं stock market करता हूँ. लोग बोलते हैं वो तो ठीक है, काम क्या करते हो? So basically, one of my dad's friend, he was head of Barclays trading, and when he came to office, he was telling my dad कि मैंने ये साल I made millions of dollars of profit. So I was like, यार, so before that I only knew कि you can buy in a whole long term hold. And you can only invest in the market. So I was like, ये क्या होता है? He's like, we trade. मैं like, ये कैसे होता है? So then he introduced me to someone.
And this is which year?
This is 2013 or 12.
Okay.
Then I went to his office in Andheri. There was a person called Vamsi. When I went there, I realized that they are trading price. I was like, ऐसे भी होता है. So then I got to know कि यार fundamentals तो is something different, and this is something which interests me. तो मुझे इसमें काफी इंटरेस्ट आया. इनफैक्ट मैं काफी पढ़ने लगे कहाँ पे. अभी तो ऑनलाइन काफी कुछ है, पर तब ऐसे पता ही नहीं था कि कहाँ से सीखना है. तो एक दो जगह पे गया, कुछ सीखने मिला. एंड देन द मेजर टर्निंग पॉइंट केम इन 2016 जब इंडिया में वीकली ऑप्शंस इंट्रोड्यूस हुए बैंक निफ्टी में. एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आई वाज इंटर्निंग विद ऋषभ संघवी कंपनी. सो एंड दे वर यूजिंग एमएल एंड एआई फॉर इन्वेस्टिंग, लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टिंग. सो तब मुझे लगा कि यार अगर मार्केट में हमारे पास डेटा है, अगर डेटा से मैं वीकली रेंज निकालूं, ये ऑप्शंस क्या प्रोबेबिलिटी है वर्थलेस एक्सपायर होंगे, तो उसके अराउंड देयर इज अ को-फाउंडर, टेक पर्सन विद मी, अभिषेक करके इज माय को-फाउंडर. सो आई टोल्ड हिम कि अपन वीकली ऑप्शंस को अगर सही से, सिर्फ बैंक निफ्टी को अगर सही से समझ ले एंड इस पे ही ट्रेडिंग स्ट्रेटजीज बनाए कि यार वीकली एक्सपायरी है, इस ये रेंज है, ऐसा होगा तो ऐसा मूवमेंट होगा, कैसे कर सकते हैं. सो देन फ्रॉम देयर वो एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग है कि यार हाँ, इसको अगर सही से किया, सो सिस्टम ड्रिवन ट्रेडिंग के बेसिकली ओके, पहले आपने चीजें बैक टेस्ट की, ये सब हुआ, एंड डेली आपको सेम चीजें करनी. उसके पहले क्या था, बिफोर दैट आई वाज ट्रेडिंग रैंडमली. आज अच्छा लग रहा है मार्केट तो बाय करूंगा, आज बुरा लग रहा है तो सेल करूंगा. देयर वाज नो डिफाइंड रूल. बट नाउ सिंस देन आई सेम डेली सेम चीज ही करते हैं, एंड लकीली दैट हैज वर्कड फॉर मी एंड आई मेजरली ट्रेड द इंडेक्स. सो दैट इज माय जर्नी. एंड उसके बाद द मेजर टर्निंग पॉइंट वाज मैंने एक आईआईटी बॉम्बे में एक सेशन लिया था. सो after that session, I just posted on LinkedIn ke I did a session at IIT Bombay that was on Python and systematic trading. Uske baad one of the prop trading guys saw that, he's like, can you train us? So I realized कि यार,
so you knew, you had a coding background, engineering background.
So my co-founder, he has a coding background. I had done engineering but coding ज़्यादा नहीं की है.
Okay.
So after that post, he was like, you train our traders also. So I was like, यार prop के बंदों को सिखाना, because before that students you can teach and go, but prop traders को सिखाना था. I was like, okay. So from there I realized what is the potential of trading, because traders, they were trading with multiple crores, and there were 350 traders on that desk. So from there
Which year?
This was 2017 I guess. Okay. 1918.
And that's how you founded Quantify Capital.
Yeah. So तब मुझे realize हुआ कि यार इसमें there's a lot of scope, and so that training went for 3 months कि कैसे डेटा लाना है, कैसे बैक टेस्ट करना है, बहुत सारी चीजें पे डिस्कशन हुआ. एंड तब आई रियलाइज कि हाँ, ट्रेडिंग में भी एक अच्छे स्केल पे यू कैन रीच, बिकॉज बिफोर दैट द स्केल वाज नॉट दैट ग्रेट, बट आफ्टर दैट आई रियलाइज कि ट्रेडिंग पे भी यू कैन reach a very good scale. And luckily after that things like after that prop desk, other prop desk approached me. So I trained even Futures First, which is one of the largest derivative desks globally.
So I got to know you from Futures First only. I
Okay.
was there, and like I attended your session there.
Okay,
once.
so Prashant and I are like
You were
very.
working in Futures
So
First?
yeah, Prashant was
So
my
whatever
manager, yeah.
money you have made from trading, please pay him. You have to pay the royalty. now.
Because like when I went to Futures First also, like I had gone to Gurgaon, so I met Prashant. So like what we do in Indian markets and what they do is completely different.
Completely different.
Like the margin they require, like they were talking about some traders are best traders. The margin I and he are using are similar, but he's making 500 like 5 times more returns, like 500%, 400% returns. So like it's a vast thing, like Indian markets, global markets. But the main thing is if you are data driven, if you manage your risk in the long run, you can sustain in the market. So that's it from my side.
So your family now thinks you do something.
Yeah, so that happened after I started coming on TV. So like, शायद से कुछ तो ठीक कर रहा है.
So they were in the jewelry business for a long time. They did not realize that he's the real gem.
So Piyush, like what's the life cycle of making a algorithm in the market? Like just Sourabh was just talking about backtesting, coding. So how this life cycle work?
So when I am a chart-based trader, basically technical analyst. So for me, all the algos were supposed to come from the chart.
Okay.
My entire thing started that whatever I can see, I should be able to code.
Okay.
So that started probably sometime in 2011-12 when I was looking for a job, going to brokers, meeting people at prop desks. Everyone was only talking about algos at that point of time. This was 12 years ago, and I had not even heard of this term. I'm in the market since 2003, and the first time I was hearing the term algos was in 2011. So this thing was kind of intriguing. It raised the curiosity. So I went to the internet, searched, and I think I found some groups on LinkedIn, so which were talking about algos. This was US-based algo groups. So from there, I picked up something that there were a few platforms like Ninja Trader was there, TradeStation was there. So I opened up Ninja Trader's account and I started trying to figure what an algo is. I think by 2012 or something, I was able to figure a few things. But to begin, before I could reach any algo, the first thing was the busting of a few myths. Like I was very avid user of some indicators like RSI, MACD, stochastics. So they have this automated interface whereby
What did you backtest like? What are your first strategies?
So I just started with the indicators, just simple indicators. There was this typical normal automated interface where you can just put whenever stochastic cuts up 20, you buy. Whenever it goes to 80, you exit. Then cuts below 80, you say sell and like that. Suppose something like this. And I was shocked to see that stochastics has a great accuracy rate of not even 27%. And RSI, the Desh ka indicator, has an accuracy of probably 35-38%. So all these. So for about 1 year or so, I was just testing all these things, and I was a discretionary trader using all these indicators. I was pretty much worshipping these indicators, and all those myths were busting right in front of my eyes. That they in the long run, I have no edge.
So what he was doing was just a forward testing. I think no back testing, just.
So no, I was doing backtesting only. With that on Ninja, I have taken this data from, I think, eSignal. eSignal used to charge heavily, 7,500, 10,000 I used to pay per month only for data, and I was doing all this backtesting. But in about a year or so, I was able to understand that to make a trading system, I maybe have to make a team of indicators. So then eventually I made a team of indicators. I made this trading system, and by 2012 end, I had a trading system ready.
What do you mean by trading system? Is it a group of indicators, charts, or physical monitors? Like what exactly trading system is?
So a group of indicators coming together, giving a buy signal, and then giving an exit signal, then giving a short signal, then giving an exit signal. So it's like a long short on futures. which I was able to make in 2012.
And इसी को हम systematic trading बोलते हैं.
इसी को ही systematic
You,
trading.
you can add maybe like even the position size or the quantity
Yes.
you take, which we
Yes.
realize I think over a period.
I think
is
that
a
was
lot
my
more
first
important.
algo, and I really want to tell this story. So by 2012, and I had this algo. I did not know what was this algo. Now I was seeing the results. The results were probably 50-55% accuracy rate, and but it had a good RR. Risk reward was very
So
good.
this was the RSI one or the other system which had a good RR, the stochastic one?
No. This was something else.
Something
this
else.
was based on
You
moving
found
averages.
Okay, my God. That's
Based on
simple.
moving averages.
Okay.
So by then I had reached
He's not
moving
revealing
averages.
the
Oh,
secret.
okay. No, I don't want that. I just want to know, is it something exotic like Elliott waves?
No.
for which you are known
I was a
to-
very basic coder. I was not even a coder. I was using those automated interface.
Okay.
They're Ninja Traders automated interface.
These were like no code tools, low code.
No code tools basically. And I was using that, and I made the algo, and I looked at the returns of the last 1 year drawdowns, and I was literally very happy seeing that. So I went to many brokers, pitched it. One prop desk showed the interest. So the prop desk said that okay, we'll put in 50 lakhs on this algo.
Just like we'll emphasize, what are these prop desks? Who are these?
So prop desks are these brokers with their own capital, or maybe borrowed capital from banks or wherever, and
But
they,
not client.
but not client
money.
money.
It goes
Not
like a
client
pro
money.
code.
So like there is a lot of myths in the trading community about operators, about prop desks. These are the people who run the market. So like we just wanted to know कौन है ये लोग आखिर prop desk हो गया, operators हो गया, क्या ये सही में
So-
market drive करते हैं?
So operators is like operators is like a ghost. They are there, they are not there. We have no clue.
Okay.
But prop is real, and no, they are not driving the market. No, they are not doing anything illegit, illegal. They are well governed people. They have to report all their transactions just like all of us.
And they make up a fairly large portion
Yes.
of the value of trading.
Yes.
So if
You know,
you
it
see
is-
the
it is
data
more
which
than
has come,
four-
right, 90%, like 10% traders only make money. In that prop desk is not there. So
Yes.
only that is only retail traders.
Yes.
So those are different set of traders, like,
Correct.
who are making money.
Even the overall volumes that is being generated, where NSE publishes a report every month called NSE Pulse. They show like what is the overall volumes coming from retail, coming from institutions, coming from pro accounts.
Okay.
More than 48% is coming from pro, which is that more than 48% of the people that is being generated are through these prop accounts, which is mean their own capital. So it's kind of a firm where they trade their own kind of capital.
Okay.
Even today I went to one of the firm. That is the first time that I am seeing a prop firm. Prior to that, I've never seen a prop firm. I know, okay, this is what it is. And the guy introduced, this is Kriba, and none of them looked back at me. They were so hooked to the
They were so-
screen.
yeah.
He was saying that I was simply asking them at what time you guys have lunch, because I met them around 1 o'clock. And almost all 40 people turned back and look at me, and then continued back because they
Okay,
never-
we'll see you
they
after
said
market.
that there is no lunch during market hours. Only after the market is closed at 3:30, they can move out of the seat. So from 9:15 to 3:30, they just sit and keep trying to trade. And mostly it will be like delta neutral strategies with options. So they keep trying to manage their positions from morning till evening. But everybody are profitable traders. If they are not making profit, they won't be sitting
They
there.
won't be sitting there.
So they are profitable
Delta
traders.
neutral.
Yeah, mostly they're trying to manage the
I'm just beginning in
positions.
the options world. So what is delta neutral?
I don't want to get into deep.
We are just actually when an option anything comes up, delta neutral is the first word. I don't
First
know.
word.
First
It was the first
But
word.
now
I think
what
from
exotic-
before 2010 only they had started
Strategy,
delta neutral
delta
strategies.
neutral.
No, even when you ask them like what kind of trade that you make, they don't even say that they are doing options trading. They are saying delta trading.
So
They go very
delta
specific.
hedging.
Yeah, it is
They
I'll
go very
attempt a
specific.
little and then you can elaborate. So delta is basically rate of change of the option with respect to change in underlying. If
Right.
underlying goes up 1 point, and if delta is half, it will go up by half a point.
Right.
So neutralizing delta would be probably if the market is moving and your position is now 0.60 or 0.70 delta, you want to bring it back to
Zero.
zero. So you will sell that much delta. to
Right.
make it neutral.
So basically, you have to sell or buy call options or put options
And keep doing that as the market keeps moving.
Right. So
Your delta also should be only around zero.
Right. So that is why they are hooked into the screen, completely without even moving. Because if they go for a loop, that's all. That too, with
A lot
kind
can
of
happen.
movement, yeah.
Actually, my journey was somewhat quite similar to Piyush's, although we know each other for a while now. But this is the place where it comes out in more detail around even the time.
Haan.
So e-signal matches. Right?
E-signal
Data
matches,
was
yeah.
from e-signal.
That time there was only e-signal.
There was
was
only
no
e-signal
other
with
option.
good quality data, and we talk about it and realize now how important data is, but it is really important for building out a
Yeah.
good quality system.
Right.
And luckily I got to meet with somebody who's a technical analyst, CMT, a chartered market technician.
Okay.
So my background was in systems and programming.
So you were a proper coder, right?
I have programmed for a software firm, so where I was on systems, but no idea about market, except for a little bit of the investing I was doing and reading books. And then we tested a futures trading system, simple moving averages,
Okay.
and Donchian channel.
Right.
That's about it. Win rates were around 40%. मतलब
Yeah.
just passing marks होता है स्कूल का 35 होता था,
Hmm.
उससे थोड़ा ज़्यादा था,
Hmm.
40%. But the reward risk ratio turned out to be more than 2:1.
Exactly. Same was the case with me. So same algo, similar things. 2.5, or maybe around 3:1 was the RR. I tested it some 1 year data, and then we actually started trading on that.
So I just want to cut the clutter यहाँ पे, right? Just explain what risk reward or RR and win rate, and how lower win rate and higher risk reward is a good strategy.
See, for an example, you would take 3 different systems. System A, System B, System C. System A, they say that it is 90% winning accuracy system. The moment you say 90% winning accuracy system, everybody will go for it.
Sorry to interrupt, we have a guest here.
ये uninvited कैसे आ गया?
You guys continue.
We thought you were not sure.
Like we can have one more chair.
No.
So we have Vishal with us. Vishal, we were discussing about like win rate and RR. So Kiru was explaining us. So please, Kiru.
Yeah, so say consider we have 3 different systems. System A, System B and System C. System A is the one which is having a 90% winning accuracy. So when you tell to the users or any other people that I have a 90% winning accuracy system, most of them will go for it. Yeah, definitely I need that. See, this 90% winning accuracy system, for an example, consider shorting an OTM options on an expiry probably at 3 o'clock. So most of the OTM options going to expire worthless. They may make say 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees on that trade, but from their perspective, if I make 10 trades, 9 trades is going to be profitable.
So that's 9 out of 10, 90%.
So 90%. But that one trade, what happens? They don't explain it, because for them it is winning accuracy, 90% winning accuracy. But in that one trade, whatever the profits that you made could have wiped out. That is like shorting a 5 rupees option. Most of the time going to go to 0, but at sometimes it can go to 50 rupees. So that is going to after 100 trades, if you expect
if someone has a 90% accuracy and a situation like this, he's or she's broken even at best.
That is not even broken.
Not even
because that is going to be a negative experience.
Like this Nifty expiry, only 1 rupee put option went to 100 rupees
Right.
after 3.
So after 100 trades, if you calculate the expectancy, that is going to be negative. So even if you take a 10% winning accuracy, which is like same ulta buying a 5 rupees option, a hero or zero game. So on most of the time it is going to be 0, but at times it can give you 50 rupees. But over the long run, this 90% or 10% accuracy or 50% accuracy, it is not how much the winning accuracy that matters. All that matters is how much you are making when you are right versus how much you are losing when you are wrong. Based on that, when you calculate the overall expectancy, that is going to tell you on 100 trades, this specific trade is going to be a profitable system or not. So instead of just relying on winning accuracy, when you calculate that with risk reward ratio, what you said, then that will give you a clear cut idea, okay, whether you should go with that or not. But most of them just look on the winning accuracy alone.
I have a point of view on that. Like, when you start out as a trader, usually you would want to start out with a high winning accuracy system. But obviously, what he mentioned, like that one trade or a 2 trade, which are like devastated or what you call as hunter algos nowadays, okay? Just stop it before they become like a very major disaster, and have a positive expectancy of a system in terms of at the end of the 10 trades, even if it is one trade, bad trade, but you cut them at somewhere 2x, 3x, 4x,
Right.
you still end up making money. For a new trader, that is the most important thing to be right now.
Yeah.
And then eventually, maybe once he gets more experience, he would want to go for a lower winning ratio, but a higher risk to reward ratio.
Got it. So, like with this, Vishal, I just also wanted to understand that there are a lot of loosely interchangeable interchangeable words like algo trading, rule-based trading, quant trading. Is there any difference between all these systematic trading,
I
HFTs?
think you should ask the quant
Yeah,
trader.
please.
So see, rule based is basically you have set of rules.
Hmm.
Okay, suppose, so when I say set of rules is what is the entry condition? Like suppose, like generally अब पहले when we start, like any trader starts कैसे कि ठीक है market अच्छा लग रहा है buy करूँगा, market बुरा लग रहा है sell करूँगा. But वो rule basis you basically जब like you ask के back test क्या होता है, तो back test is basically एक कोई hypothesis हो गया आपका कि सपोज कल का हाई ब्रेक होता है तो चांसेस है स्टॉक में अच्छा मोमेंटम आता है, या तो फिर 52 वीक हाई पे इफ आई बाय स्टॉक्स तो चांसेस है आई मेक मनी. सो यू बेसिकली जब भी 52 वीक हाई पे कोई स्टॉक आ रहा है, सपोज आप उसको बाय कर रहे हो एंड उसको चेक कर रहे हो कि पिछले 5 साल में अगर ये मैं रोज यही करता, यही चीज सेम चीज, तो कितना पैसा बना कि ओके 52 वीक हाई पे आई बाय, स्टॉप लॉस इज 10% फ्रॉम माय बाइंग प्राइस एंड आई राइट द ट्रेंड. सो दिस इज बेसिकली रूल बेस्ड कि आपने एक एंट्री, आपका इज बेसिकली एंट्री ऐसे, आपका एंट्री इज फिक्स्ड, एंट्री रूल इज फिक्स्ड, एग्जिट रूल इज फिक्स्ड, सो देयर इज नो इमोशन इन्वॉल्वड. सो दिस इज रूल बेस्ड. एल्गो इज के इसी चीज को आपने ऑटोमेट कर दिया है. सो रूल
Code कर दिया.
हाँ कोड करके अपना ऑटोमेट लाइक नाउ. सो रूल सिस्टमैटिक ट्रेडिंग इज बेसिकली योर डिसीजंस आर सिस्टमैटिक के ओके ऐसे बाय करना है, ऐसे सेल करना है, उसको आप ऑटोमेट
मैन्युअली भी ऑर्डर प्लेस
मैन्युअली भी प्लेस कर सकते हैं एंड ऑटोमेट भी कर सकते हो. एल्गो ट्रेडिंग इज बेसिकली ऑटोमेटिंग दोस ट्रेड्स. And quant and algo are kind of similar. Okay, like basically quant is data. Okay, you are using data to build system. So quant itself में बहुत सारी चीजें आ जाती है, HFT ये सब बहुत सारी चीजें आ जाती है. But basically systematic trading is you have rules, के set of rules. So if you see most traders like when we start, like even when we started, most of us we did not have any rules. ठीक है start कर लिया, अच्छा लग रहा है बुरा लग रहा है. After learning we realized कि यार rule based trading important because अगर मैं सोचता हूँ अगर मुझे 20 साल यही चीज करनी है, मैं डेली अगर इंटरप्रेट करो आज ऐसा होगा आज वैसा होगा, तो यू विल गो मैड. बट इफ यू हैव अ रूल के ठीक है, सो फॉर एग्जांपल ऐसी सेड कि आपने 10 रुपए का ऑप्शन भी बेचा, यू नो कि 10 का बेचा 30 पे काटना है, 10 का वो 0 होगा. सो इन द लॉन्ग रन यू नो कि आपको यही चीज डेली फॉलो करनी है. सो दैट इज सिस्टमैटिक रूल बेस्ड. एंड वो आपको कैसे आ रहा है, आपने बेसिकली एनालिसिस किया. तो बेसिकली once you like note all these trades, you will get a trade log. Okay, इस दिन पे ये ट्रेड ट्रिगर हुई थी, इस दिन पे ये प्राइस पे ट्रिगर हुआ था, एंड उस ट्रेड लॉग को एनालाइज करके आपको समझोगे कि ओके कौन से दिन विनिंग डेज थे, कौन से लूजिंग डेज थे, एंड दैट्स हाउ यू लर्न कि ओके इस सिस्टम में. सो इवन अ बैड सिस्टम लाइक सपोज यू हैव अ हाइपोथेसिस के 50 का हाई बाय करना है एंड वो सिस्टम का सपोज एक्यूरेसी एकदम गंदा आ रहा है, व्हिच मींस उसका उल्टा विल गिव यू गुड रिजल्ट्स. सो बेसिकली ट्रेड लाइक दैट इज बैक टेस्टिंग. यू राइट एंट्री लॉजिक, एग्जिट लॉजिक, देन आपका एक पूरा ट्रेड लाइक बेसिकली ट्रेड लाइक लॉग बनता है एंड देन यू एनालाइज दैट ट्रेड लॉग के इक्विटी का समझो 10 लाख से स्टार्ट किया, 5 साल बाद इस में कितना हुआ, उसके बाद उसमें यू डू मोर डिटेल एनालिसिस के कितनी बैक टू बैक लॉस आ सकते हैं. एज यू सेड के लाइक मोस्ट ऑफ अस वांट गुड मार्क्स राइट, 70% राइट होना है, 80% राइट होना है, बट देयर आर गुड सिस्टम्स व्हिच कैन हैव बैक टू बैक 7 लॉसेस 8 लॉसेस. बट क्या होता है इफ यू डोंट हैव द कॉन्फिडेंस के 3-4 लॉस के बाद अरे लगता है नहीं चलेगा कुछ दूसरा करता हूं, अब किसी और का वीडियो देखोगे हाँ इसकी स्ट्रेटजी अच्छी है, इसकी तो
which
बकवास है.
mainly happens in the discretionary
Yes,
trading.
हाँ.
After 2-3 losses, generally,
Yes.
मतलब we generally can't
And this
make
happens, you know, like
forward.
good traders, like मैं जब like you was mentioning prop desk, like I've been to prop desk वहाँ पे like even the best of the traders when things are not going their way, even most of us like when things are not going their way, we question यार क्या हो गया शायद से, like is there something wrong with our strategy? So people you question yourself. So but अगर आपने उसको सही से बैक टेस्ट किया, आपको पता है कि यार 5 लॉस भी हो सकते हैं, 6 लॉस भी हो सकते हैं बैक टू बैक, तो आपको ऑटोमेटिकली सिस्टम में कॉन्फिडेंस आता है. एंड व्हाट आई लुक इज बेसिकली एज वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट रिस्क टू रिवॉर्ड कि कितना ड्रॉ डाउन आएगा. ड्रॉ डाउन इज बेसिकली समझो आपने 10 लाख से चालू किया, आपका कैपिटल समझो 20 लाख हो गया, फिर 20 से वो नीचे कितना आता, समझो 20 से 15 आया, तो 20 से 15 5 लाख का ड्रॉ डाउन आया, तो दैट इज लाइक, और उसके बाद रिवॉर्ड कितना आ रहा है कि लाइक मैं 10 लाइक जितना मैं कैपिटल डाल रहा हूँ, मतलब रिस्क टू रिवॉर्ड के ड्रॉ डाउन कितना है, रिटर्न कितना मिल रहा है. सो दैट इज समथिंग आई लुक. बाकी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं बैक टेस्टिंग में, बट ओवरऑल सिस्टमैटिक ट्रेडिंग इसके आपने रूल्स लिखे हुए हैं एंड एल्गो ट्रेडिंग इज व्हाटएवर रूल्स यू हैव ऑटोमेटेड.
सो फॉर बीइंग अ सिस्टमेटिक ट्रेडर आपको कोडर होने की जरूरत नहीं है.
नहीं.
ठीक है, कोडर आपको एल्गो लिखने के टाइम पर जरूरत
यस
है.
पर अभी लाइक इफ यू सी इतने सारे चीजें आ गई है लाइक कि लाइक इवन इफ यू आर नॉट अ कोडर देयर आर पीपल हु कैन कोड फॉर यू. एंड बिकॉज व्हाइल कोडिंग आपको काफी इंट्रिकेसीज ध्यान रखनी है. समझो आपका कोई भी ब्रोकर का एपीआई है तो आपको रिस्क मैनेजमेंट चेक, बिकॉज समटाइम्स द एपीआई आल्सो फेल, समटाइम्स लाइक एक्सचेंज लाइक एक बार इंसिडेंट था एक्सचेंज वाज डाउन, तो लाइक यू हैव टू हैव दैट फेल मैकेनिज्म कि सपोज कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया. सो टू गिव एन एग्जांपल, सो नाइट कैपिटल लाइक in US
Okay.
they went bankrupt due to an algo error, so they had changed some code.
There's a software version
They had
error or
updated new
something.
code. Due to that code, what happened is they started buying stocks randomly.
This is like which year?
This is
Maybe like 15 years.
2012 or 15.
14 or 15.
Okay, 10 years.
So they bought around $1 billion worth of stocks, and when by the time they realized, they started selling, and their quantity was so huge. Due to that, the company lost 60% of their market cap in just due to this algo error.
Okay.
So like when people think like there's a misconception that algos are always profitable. Like if you see बहुत सारे लोगों को लगता है ये तो algo है मतलब profitable ही होगा. Algo is just कि आप खुद कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो, आपका trade is automated. That's it.
Okay, so,
So that
algos
night
is-
capital was a very very important incident with
Yes.
respect to not kind of a flash crash. What happened was exactly they deployed some changes in the server, and this server, what happens is they are basically a market maker. So they provide liquidity into the markets. Whenever there are sell orders, they will send buy orders. Whenever there are
So
buy orders,
market makers are
institutions who
employed
provide
by
liquidity.
exchanges.
Yeah, right. So on that day, prior to the market was opened, they installed all the changes in 10 different servers. But in one server, they did not make that change. But nobody knows on which server that was. So as the moment the market started opening, the orders were started firing, and it was within a short span of time. If there is a buy order, it has to send a sell order, and then it gets observed. And again, within short span of time, they should not hold that stock. They have to again sell it.
Okay.
So that within short span of time, they keep buying and selling, they make money. But at one point of time, what happens was, once it starts recording this transaction, it has to go and save in a server database stating that a transaction is complete. A buy was there, sell was there, completed. Now again send the buy, sell, and it should get saved, right? That saving was not happening. So it started buying in one server and started selling in one server, and within short span of time, it did not even consider what was coming in. It was not even considering that the transaction was completed. So it started keep on selling the markets. Then at one point of time, they realized that something is wrong. So instead of shutting down the whole system, they started shutting the system one server by one server. So by the time they identified which server it was so late. They started almost losing almost 60 to 70% of their books, and eventually they went bankrupt, I think.
One of the another bank bought them.
Yeah.
Okay. So like with this, I just wanted to understand these were institutions running the algorithms,
Right.
And this API based trading, or the brokers like us who are more into the retail side. So is there any difference between algorithm trading between institutions and a retail? So I'm sure it's going to be completely different.
If you think about it, rules might be similar to start with, and institutions would be having more rules, probably more complex ones also based on the capability of the people they hire. But and the other difference might really be an institution would basically be doing large volume orders. So they will be slicing. We were just talking about that X lakh, X point, X lakh quantity which somebody was trading. Right, so they will necessarily use an execution algo to slice a large order into smaller pieces to minimize the impact cost,
So like
And
that
to it the risk management part. In the
risk
algos.
management, and to maybe not let the market know really what
So
they're up to.
working with
for a large-
Bloomberg and Reuters gave me that insight. And I 100% agree with Vivek. The larger institutions, for them, the algo definition is execution algos.
Okay.
The DMA.
The DMAs, hide my
Direct
orders,
market
iceberg
access.
orders.
Direct
Retail, direct. But for retail, it is more about executing that signal. It's not about
which we generally find difficulty to follow rules consistently.
No.
What
For
Sourabh
us,
has been
algo
saying.
trading
No,
is
for retail, it's more about signal generation first.
Yes.
Exactly.
They don't want to sit in front of the screen to decide whether to buy or sell. We want signal generation first, and most of the execution part by the retail is still being done manually. Very few are doing automated executions also, but largely for retail, algos means signal generation automation.
But no, if you have to explain what is algo trading in total layman terms, it is most of them think, okay, I'm not making profits, let me get into algo trading. They tend to assume that algo trading makes
somebody
money. It's kind of an automated
thought
money
just saying
making
it's
machine.
an ATM machine
Yeah.
that makes money every
But
month. It's
so
not-
algo trading is like
Robot is
consider-
the alien.
Yeah.
They will make money.
So consider algo trading, for an example, a sailor who's getting into a ship and who wants to reach a destination from A to B. Okay, and his only way, probably over 50 or 60 years before, is prior to that, like most of the transportation was happening through ships. Like there was no air cargoes, nothing, right? So maybe 100 years before, how they used to do is they used to track where the stars were and accordingly they used to go to that specific destination and deliver whatever the goods. That is how the transportation was happening. Now you have this GPS navigation and everything tools. So this particular ship can go from destination A to B using these navigation tools. Those navigation tools are your algo trading rules that tells you that okay, you can easily sail through this place from A to B, but you can reach the destination. That doesn't mean that your journey is going to be smooth. There will be storms.
You will get a rough
There will
sea
be
also
rough
at
sea.
times.
There will be ups and downs. So algo trading is
So the
like
nature
it
of the
just helps
sea
you.
has not changed.
Right,
And
exactly.
it is to a large extent not in anyone's control.
Exactly.
exactly.
I mean,
So
it's
algo
the-
trading
it's
doesn't
emotion.
help you to make profits. It just eases the overall process to reach your destination. But still, it is the trader who's trading that trading system makes or breaks. So it is all about that. So it is not that algo trading is money making machine.
Coming back to that institution's point, like I was just reading a stat that 50% of the order volume on NSE and BSE is from algos, and I'm sure most of these volumes are from the institutions. So, do retail traders algo have any chance to win against these institutions?
So remember this institutional algos are purely arbitrage algos or market maker algos.
Okay.
And in fact, they are complementary to retail algos. Why? Because for a institutional, when he is doing an arbitrage, he's looking for that small alpha of 10 paisa or 15 paisa or 11 paisa or 50 paisa, whatever. And he's there doing constantly churning on it. Whereas a retail, he's looking for liquidity. Because if मुझे अभी बेचना है, तो मुझे समय buyer चाहिए, right? So they are not actually eating each other.
Yeah, and in fact, you want your execution cost to be lower when you.
It is a complementary.
In a way.
So, in fact, retail has two kind of mindset. Let's understand that retail is probably with anyone with a few lakhs to a few crores, not higher in crores. Two kind of mindset. So one would be if they are looking into the futures markets, they are looking for the directional moves. Or in the options market, they are probably looking for liquidity in their option strikes to create their own strategies. So institutional algos, which are probably doing those arbitrage and you can say market making, they are giving a lot of liquidity to those entire environment. The entire ecosystem is important, and they are looking at, as Vishal said, they are looking at a very small bit of margins, but retail is looking at a larger margin to survive.
The
So the
number
entire
of
thought process is
trades
different.
might be lower, but the retail will want a higher profit per trade with
Correct.
a higher loss per trade.
Correct.
Generally, which he or she will be part of the
In
equation.
percentage terms.
In percentage.
Yeah, but institution would be surviving on very, very thin margins.
But churning it regularly.
Like one high frequency trader which we were working with way back in 2008-9 when they just started. It was infancy of algo in India. We're doing market making on BSE, and the number of orders was 250,000 orders in a day, coming from 3 desktop computers, but not very powerful computers, but it used to eat up the whole CPU and RAM. मतलब ऐसा सोचो machines पड़ा है, चल रहा है वो, okay, Omnisys पे होता था तभी, it was running on. You can't do anything because it's consuming the whole bandwidth. but it was pumping 250,000 orders a day in BSE and doing 3% of the cash volume in BSE with 3 computers. Okay. Just 3 computers.
So, like, there is also one more thing. Like, for the market feed or the feed you get from the exchange, one is the traders get feed from the broker's platform. Another one is a co-location, tick by tick data. And that is where, like, some people say that co-location traders have more advantage because their orders will get placed earlier, they will get the market feed earlier. So, like, is it true that is why institutions, even if they are complementary to each other, the chances of winning of them is more because of this co-location thing?
So if you look at again going back to the same point, retail algos. If I'm going to hit, at Piyush mentioned, मैं 101 में बेचने वाला था, वो 100 में भी चला गया, and I'm okay with it. I want my execution to happen.
Exactly.
क्योंकि I'm not looking at getting at 99.50.
Execute करना ही है.
मुझे execute करना है और मेरा margin जो है, I'm not moving for a 0.5% or a 0.25%. I'm looking for 2%, 3%. तो कल कोट के अगर वो आ भी जाता है, and in fact I want them to come in to give me that liquidity again.
Right.
Okay.
The only advantage or a disadvantage to a retail is when there is a panic selling.
Got it.
Okay, when there is
And
one
everyone
way,
wants to rush to get out.
even the high frequency wants to get out of it. and even the retail wants to get out of it. And that's where the problem starts, because they will have a distinctive advantage because उनके पास
Or
horse
panic buying also in
Panic
today's
buying.
terms.
Whatever.
Hunter
The
algos.
Nirmala,
You're talking about.
the Nirmala candle.
Absolutely, even on that, if you're short, system short.
So whenever there is one directional move and everybody wants to get out of, it's like theater में
Theater
बैठे हो,
में
आग लगी
लगी
है,
है।
जो सीट के नजदीक बैठा है पहले, जो एग्जिट के बाजू बैठा है वो पहले निकलेगा.
Right.
Okay.
So that's where they will definitely have an advantage over a retailer.
And why they wanted to go through a co-location route? Because they want a faster access.
Yeah. So co-location is simply, suppose this is the exchange trading system. So, right, and right now we are say in Borivali, and instead of a server being here, suppose a server is right in one data center, just close to the absolute proximity to the exchange, part of the exchange building. Just by basic physics, यहाँ से जो time लगेगा पहुँचने में will be lower than यहाँ से जो time. कुछ भी कर लो. So co-location is your server is जिससे order जा रहा है is located right next to the exchange's order matching engine.
It's a data centers.
It's a data center.
मेरा server और exchange का server साथ में.
Absolutely.
So there was some controversy regarding this co-location scam in NSE.
So suppose he's the exchange server, right? And this is a rack where all the servers, and we are traders, and we all have got our servers here. Fight ऐसा भी था कि मुझे ये वाला server चाहिए, because this will be a few microseconds faster than this.
Okay.
That is what people were in the race. In the what Vishal has been talking about, these institutional traders who are for 10 paisa, 15. उनके लिए even that microseconds matters.
Okay.
So
this scam was like preferential treatment for allotting the servers.
Yes, I don't want to get into detail of it, but just to put it into a broader scale, कि arbitrage करते हो. Arbitrage ways is like a risk, theoretically and for all practical purpose, risk-free money. क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो reliance है वो यहाँ पे भी होना चाहिए, same price होना चाहिए. Now,
NSE BSE.
NSE BSE, right? Now, if that is not the case, you are going to get an opportunity. Now, as he rightly mentioned, जो जितना नजदीक है, you're going to get benefit of that. So that's where कि ये preferential allotment हुआ या कैसे हुआ, we don't want to get it, but जो सबसे नजदीक है उसको advantage ज़्यादा है. That's where it comes on in a larger scale of things.
And probably what also happened is there is a primary line when you connect to exchange, and there is a backup line. Now you're supposed to go on the backup line when your primary line is down. As per, it's a backup line, it's not a primary. Probably some people were using the backup line as the primary line in spite of the primary line being active.
Okay.
So there were.
तो वहाँ पे हाँ, क्योंकि सबका volume primary line पे है.
Right.
तो message
backup
पहुँचने में time
is
लगेगा.
probably reaching faster.
Interesting.
You know a lot of information when you are part of this.
And he's not sharing
Actually,
Read the book by Miss Sujata Dalal.
Actually, I wish I was part of it. But
So-
yeah, it's an interesting.
Yeah,
topic.
we witnessed it being in the industry. We witnessed a lot of things happening. We witnessed small brokers making a lot of money suddenly within 2 years, 3 years. But we could not do anything about it.
Unfortunately, what happened, this also took Algo back for a few years because with scam, anything scam, and which we have seen from Harshad Mehta time, right?
Since this is associated with.
I mean, if
Algo,
you think of ecosystem, we are talking about these are parts of the ecosystem. Any ecosystem, I mean, these are parts. So, but it is what it is, and probably.
But I think after 2014-15 picked up, Algo picked up. Maybe for a couple of years there was a halt.
In a way, if you think these were opportunities to create more stringent risk measures, if you look now, the number of checks for any algo that we do.
I think for a couple of years there was a halt even from the prop desk. Everyone was cautious because there were investigations everywhere. But after 2015, things picked up again in algos.
because prior to that, none of the brokers were giving APIs at all. Now every single broker, the number of APIs being provided by broker itself is very high.
Now they have invested their own.
Right.
I think if you think let's say about the good and the bad or everything, in a way a retailer would be happy to get the chance to exit through a system rather than not having the chance to do algo at all.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you've seen enough
Absolutely, the
that how
chance
people tend to blow up accounts
Yeah.
fully without having access to
No,
it.
so there's a very interesting thing. Like it or not, the fact of the life, the CB came out with a report 9 out of 10 traders
Yeah.
lose money. People is going to lose money. I don't know, but that's going to be the fact. And it's not India, it's US, it's
That's
everywhere.
the market nature, the industry nature.
और अगर ये भी बोलते कि पब्लिक पैसा कम तोड़ेगा वो भी गलत है क्योंकि पैसा तो टूट रहा है बिकॉज एल्गो चलाने वाला और बंद करने वाला भी इंसान ही है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे द लॉन्जिटिविटी ऑफ द क्लाइंट गोज अप पहले वो 1 महीने में पैसा तोड़ रहा था अभी शायद 3 महीने में या मे बी एल्गो के बाद 6 महीने में so the point you have to keep on consideration I may be sounding very pessimistic but I'm trying to see the ground reality is basically people has to start believing that system that they've backtested well enough will continue to work as what he was saying right प्रॉब्लम है कि आज मैंने ये चालू किया एल्गो से ही चालू किया पैसा टूटा 2-3 दिन फिर निफ्टी में लॉस हुआ चलो फिर निफ्टी निकाल दो
या फ्राइडे लॉस हुआ तो मंडे
So the discipline is not there. The conviction is not there in the system.
that is the thing
So in fact, a similar thing experience I had with my first algo. In 2013, I was running this algo for trend following algo for the prop desk. Now I did not know that it was a trend following algo. I just
going to
knew that
ask
it
you,
was
can
an
you
algo.
elaborate?
I just knew that it was.
to ask what is trade.
I just knew it was an algo. I had created this algo from these moving averages, CCI and everything with these indicators, and I was running the algo. With that 50 lakh capital, went up to 65 lakh in 3 months. I was very happy. But after that, that 65 lakh over the period of next 6 months had this drawdown, and the 65 came to 43. It was right in September 2013.
What period? Okay, September 2013, just up when the rupee also.
Yeah, exactly. So
and Nifty fell
2013
18-19%.
Yeah. So basically,
2013
from
itself.
April, Jan to March, in 2013, my 50 lakh went to about 65, and from April till September, the 65 came down to 43. Now, obviously, prop desk was panicking. It was a 30%, more than 30% drawdown. So they obviously the algo was shut down. So I could not defend the algo because even I did not know what the algo was doing. I did not understand the algo myself. I had created this thing. It's like किसी भिखारी के हाथ में ना सोने का लोटा आ गया लेकिन उसने उसका पानी पी पी कर अपना पेट फाड़ लिया लेकिन उसको पता नहीं था उसके that he had वो सोने का लोटा है. So I did not know that. It was only months later that I understood that it was a trend following algo. Only if I had stuck to it. A few months later, the trend picked up in the market. I would have made a lot of money.
Because with trend following, 80% of your profits will come from 20% of the
20%
trades.
20%.
So we never know when that 20% of the trades is
So
going to come.
it took me many years later that I understood that okay, there's a mean reversion concept, there's a momentum concept, there's a trend following concept. There are so many different concepts I was not aware.
That is a time when I was just also about started these trend following systems. December 12 to August 13 was phenomenally lucky and good for trend following. The only the difficulty I had to do, what I had to do, what I was not doing earlier, is to switch off TV and to like not listen to your friend. Okay, and when you are having the losing trade, take the losing trade also the way it is, and don't interrupt in the system.
So I had automated it completely. Ninja was there, the code part was there, and execution was with IB, Interactive Brokers. So I had zero manual intervention. So
But I was still following and tracking the market.
Yeah, I was tracking the market. My job was to just go there and click enable and just sit through the day. And even with that, I had zero conviction. So I had a good algo at a good time, but I messed it up despite having it.
Now, every system trader will have this honeymoon period. So this honeymoon period is backtesting. You create backtest. I remember the first system that I have created, it was giving phenomenal profits. I added 2 indicators. I thought, okay, if I had 2 more indicators, probably winning accuracy will increase. Then I kept on doing the backtest. It gave me phenomenal backtest returns. Then I named that AFL. Back then I was writing in AFL, NAMI broker, life-changing AFL. Then I zipped it and then I kept it in a password protected. I made sure, no, this is going to give me,
So
my life
I
is
have
going
this
to change.
term for this called castles in the air. We are building only को एकदम super backtest 45 degree वाला आता है तो एक already
So the moment you're done,
बिल्डिंग का जो आता है ना प्रिंट आउट
तो मैंने जो ऑपरेटर बनाया था उसमें बोला पेपर ट्रेडिंग वालों को अच्छा प्रॉफिट दो तब अच्छा प्रॉफिट होगा रियल में आएंगे पूरा साइकोलॉजी
So once you're done with the backtest, the second thing is, okay, I was working, so I should quit the job. So when should I quit the job? Already it is giving me a phenomenal returns in the backtest. So you started thinking about quitting your job. Then what happens? Somehow the moment you go live, then it will not work. You start with the first tweak. That is the first divers. So you will now start with the first tweak. then the version will get changed from life-changing AFL version 1. Again, it go to version 2. And then eventually you'll realize, okay, this is not going to work.
Survival version 10.
So this backtest is a never-ending task. No, people, as long as they get stuck in that cycle, it is very, very hard to come out of that cycle. Once you realize strategy is not the important part, then you will come out
So
of it.
in a way, for a lot of option seller like us, the honeymoon period is over. 2023, and I think so.
Now
we
even
are
in backtest,
into
you are
the
not
marriage.
going to get the
Now you have 10
Backtest is
kids
not
and now you
working
have to
as-
manage their responsibilities.
In
Only
fact,
zero DT, only honeymoon on
Yes,
Saturday, zero DT and duty.
daily expiries के बाद, like if you see the difficulty has increased, like every day there's a spike. I don't remember like very few expiries when like options are not spiked every day. Like there was a time in Fin Nifty market went up, call also spiked, put also spiked, because everyone is trading the same strategy. So like the market is so cluttered,
Crowded.
and especially I think Fin
920
Nifty.
straddle is
Yeah.
a very popular
920
strategy.
straddle, yeah.
We all know.
That is true. Now, once when it is very crowded,
Yes.
I don't remember when was the last expiry without any spikes. It is full of spikes. only.
Yes.
And moreover, no, the problem with backtest or systems trading is, see, many people now they understood what is system trading and what is rule-based trading. So, because of the no-code platforms where you can easily backtest. Earlier, you can't backtest any single strategy. If you have to backtest, you should have your data, you should write your own codes. It was a tedious process. Now, because of multiple no-code platforms, people are able to backtest. Now, the problem is not the rule-based trading or the systems trading or algo trading. The moment they backtest it, they tend to assume, okay, this is the worst case scenario, this is the maximum drawdown, and I'm going to face this is the maximum worst case possible scenario. And the moment they go live, they tend to know actually the live drawdown will be higher than your historical drawdown. Then within 2 or 3 weeks, the moment it crosses the historical drawdown, they tend to think the system has stopped working, market regime changed. So probably have to jump from one system to the other system. And moreover, with the rise of so many YouTube channels, some guy will be telling about one strategy. Then he'll be trading that. After streaks of
So
losses,
this
again he'll jump.
regime change, what Kiru just spoke, is probably the crux of where algo trading is not as beautiful and rosy as it looks.
Exactly.
Because when we tested your algo, let's say we take COVID low to now, any buy bullish strategy.
So like if I say ki if you have like started your own system, it's executing trades, how often you go back to that strategy, or you will only go back to that algo strategy when it is started giving you drawdowns or not working in your favor?
See, certain things that you can before you even start deploying your live capital. For an example, you backtest, then you see this is the worst possible scenario. Other thing is you have the backtest, you know the maximum drawdown. Say for an example, as per your historical drawdown, maximum drawdown is 10,000 rupees for one lot. So now most people will assume 10,000 is my maximum drawdown. Let me keep 15,000 or 20,000, double of what my maximum drawdown, and they start trading it. And the moment that it hits this 20,000, they might stop trading it. So instead of that, the first thing that they could do is your maximum drawdown is 10,000. Okay, now you have the daily P&L for the last 5 years or 6 years. So as per this P&L, this is your maximum drawdown. If you rearrange this P&L, make the 10th P&L, 10th day, which is profit or loss, put it on the first trade, put it on the 13th trade. This is what we call it as Monte Carlo simulation.
Sorry, what?
Monte Carlo simulation, where you're trying to rearrange the sequence of your P&L.
Okay.
So
like
when
your backtest is probably just a series of tosses of
right.
heads and tails, which are wins and loses.
So when
And
you
you
try
do
to do
multiple
that,
trials of those tosses.
exactly. So when you try to rearrange your overall P&L and try to run the Monte Carlo simulation, that would give you the worst possible scenario. Okay, the maximum drawdown is 10,000 as per the backtest. But if you keep rearranging the overall P&L occurrences, probably that can go to 30,000.
So we do this game when I actually in BSc work with some students. We do everyone gets virtual capital, and they toss. We do tosses, 10 tosses, right? Where heads is say a winner and tails is a loser. And at times somebody gets 9 heads in a row or 9 tails in a row. That's the worst till now. Nobody has got 10. But the moment we do 100 tosses or 1,000 tosses, it will tend to average near 400 or which is the media your win rate or expectancy as we call it. But in a shorter number of tosses, you could just have a streak of winners or losers.
By the way, there is a research recently done. The head, whatever is the face of the coin, it tends to go more towards
that.
Yeah.
So they do ask about that.
Yeah.
The students ask about that.
No, there is actually a research done by some Harvard or whatever. when you are flipping a coin
Yeah. So
and the whatever is on the top say head, the
coin is
probability
more
of
for that.
coin hitting that
students
ground.
actually पूछते हैं sir head ज़्यादा है या tails ऊपर है तो now
In fact,
we
it
can
is,
share
I've just
this.
read it, and because I've been using in my cricket terminology, every time I go to play cricket and I see what is the top, and usually I tend to win.
They try to cover it up, no?
No, but in building a cap, what you
No, I mean so this is I think
Yeah, that is the idea. So Monte Carlo
But in
estimation just
fact,
gives you an idea.
whatever, the conviction on a system actually depends on how much time you spent on building the system. If you have just done a few back tests and you want to deploy, your conviction is bound to be very less. But the more time you have spent, the more scenarios you have thought, maybe you have done some forward testing as well, and then you are deploying it, your conviction is bound to be very high. So you have to, before deploying, you have to spend a lot
so
of time.
typically in trend firm you say at least one election to one election cycle can be.
And like as you were talking about Monte Carlo, so there's something called as walk forward testing. So what is walk forward testing is like when we talk about back testing, suppose I'm in 2023, so I have 5 years of data. So suppose 2017 say I'll start till 2020 I'll back test and like results are good, I like abhi next year say I'll start. So what is walk forward is suppose I was in 2019. So 2017, 18, 19 is past data for me. I'm back testing that, and what I'll do is I'll go 1 year forward. So 18, 19, and the new data which is coming is the current data which was not in the back test. So basically you're mixing new data with the past data. So like you run multiple back tests. So 17, 18, 19 is one back test, 18, 19, 20. So 20 is the new data. Then 19, 20, 21. So you will see that like with new data coming in, is the strategy performance same? Like it could happen that like for example after COVID, as he mentioned, that like option selling system actually changed. Like after like during COVID, I think in March, like there was
the wall went to 100.
wall was
the
like
volatility was
yes,
100%.
yes. So like in that, if you like traded options, like you made good money. But after that, the delta move also was very furious. So like so if you run like these like walkover testing, you will get more idea कि okay, as I said, like जितना time आप spend करते हो किसी system के साथ, तो आपको और conviction आता है कि अच्छा इससे recover कैसे होना है, because more than trading the system is sticking to it in bad times. Bad time is good time में everyone will follow the system क्या यार अच्छा bad times में you most of the people abandon के नहीं अभी किधर और
so like this terminology unseen data is like gold. In the trader backtesting, like this unseen data is gold where you can actually
and like in last 2-3 years we have seen so many different things. Like for example crude negative हो गया, उसके पहले किसको पता नहीं था कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है. NSE was like not working for a day, which was also कि यार ऐसा भी हो सकता है. So there are things like Nirmala Sitharaman you mentioned, like on that day 1-2 rupees option went till 1,000 I think. So
Thousands.
1,000 2 rupees call option went till 950 something. So like I optioned that I exited at 170, closing was 2,000 something. So there are so many things like because before that like my mindset come because before that I never thought कि black swan ऊपर में आ सकता है. हम लोग हमेशा नीचे risk manage करते हैं और वो भी overnight. Intraday तो we never thought कि इतना बड़ा वो intraday ऊपर में आएगा. So I think with time, as you see, then you realize कि यार okay, like now as we are talking about freak trades, it needs very freak. So you get कि यार this is not a market कि आप कुछ भी बेचो और आराम से पैसा बनेगा. बहुत सारे लोग यार 1-1 रुपए के बेच दो ठीक है तो जीरो ही होने वाले, या दूर के बेच दो.
what Kiru was just
Yes.
saying, right? 9 winners you
Yes.
could win and one trade could take
As I said,
away.
Nifty 1 रुपए का option like last expiry 1 rupee call option went till 130 and after 3 1 rupee put option went till 100. So दोनों साइड में you are chop. So like more you experience this कि आपको risk define करके चलना है.
It's the market nature or algos are doing like
No, that is the market nature. See, risk is what you don't see. That is what Morgan Housel used to say. So when you try to backtest, and most people tend to believe that if it has not happened in the past, it might not happen in the future. So why should I prepare for it? But there is one very good incident that I was talking in the last podcast. What happens was, see, during this World War II, there was a true incident happened where Germans were trying to attack these Russian people. Back then, during the World War II time, best engineers starting from aeronautics to starting from the one that built the submarines, everybody, the best engineers works in German. So even the Enigma mission which they built to encrypt, everything was from German side. So they were able to build the most sophisticated tanks, which they had some 50 to 60 tanks marching towards this Russian border. And at that time when they were supposed to attack and they were supposed to win the war, there was a change of weather. So the guy who was heading the whole army, they said, okay, let's park all our tanks here in this place and let's wait for this winter to get over or the weather to get changed, which is going to take at least 45 to 60 days. So they were just camping there for 60 days, which were near some paddy field. So after 60 days, the weather was changing and they were about to start and they were trying to attack the Russians. These German engineers, they thought about every single possibility. Like if there is extreme snow, how the overall tank has to be. If there is extreme rainfall, how the weather it has to go through those weathers and everything. They calculated every single thing, and they built it. And once that is done, they were able to go and attack the Russians after the 60 days. 60 days were over, and they were about to start. None of the tank was starting. Nothing. They had this best tank, but they couldn't start it because in all these 60 tanks which they parked in this paddy field, there was mice coming inside and biting all these electrical equipments which went into short circuit, and none of them was starting. So even the best engineers who were able to having the best knowledge thought about every single scenario, but nobody thought that a mice could come in and bite these electronic equipments. Because of this, they couldn't even march forward, and that played a vital role in losing that specific battle. So risk is something nobody, when someone says in 2019 December, imagine that world is going to be stopped. None of the flight is going to move. Everybody is going to be in lockdown. Nobody would have thought about it. That was such a nobody would have thought ever like such kind of scenario would have happened.
So weather was a game changer in World War II.
And right now you will not get a room at many of the resort easily. There would be another thing totally difficult.
Exactly.
To
And moreover, if you compare the same 2008 scenario when the market crashed, it crashed and it took some time to recover. But now the crash and the recovery is so swift and so
Yes.
fast.
That's actually a very interesting point. It's probably one of the things which Algos has done. I don't know it's good or bad or whatever, which is a debate. I think it will remain forever. But it has changed the speed at which things happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what could earlier take weeks could now happen in days. The kind of movement. And Piyush's tweets on that are very interesting to always keep seeing on the whole technical analysis is traditional analysis is going through some interesting phases maybe.
Yeah, so
Because
even
some
for
of those-
CMT, like the classical chart patterns, they will work, continue to work, but the number of false breakouts
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
has been seen quite dramatically because everybody is seeing what is the top, what is the bottom.
Right.
People are coding it, everybody's jumping onto it, and then all of a sudden there is a spurt of volume, and then there is a
And
vacuum.
it'll probably take your stop loss out.
So
I mean,
like,
till
then
there
like,
you-
I just discussed in the previous roundtable also. I just wanted to bring that question again. So what if so market is nothing but a psychological behavior of humans.
Cumulative
Okay.
behavior.
What if only the algos are running the
They
market?
will kill
How it's going to
it will be
be?
very tough to
It's like with this, I also want to bring the AI. So if AI will also be the part of these algos or the markets, are we going to I don't know how this market will be like. Right now, just you're saying you are getting a fake breakouts, fake trades.
See, these markets, stock markets is there for a very, very long period of time, right? Consider when people were trading manually, the first time the computers came in, that is exactly what people said. Like, okay, computers came in, that's what,
humans will be replaced.
computers is going to take over, that is what going to make profits. And company like Lehman Brothers, which was there for more than 130 years, went bankrupt because of over leverage. And consider LTCM, long-term capital management, which was run by 3 Nobel Prize winners, and they even have the same sophisticated algos. That was went bankrupt. So no matter what, no matter AI, ML, whatever it is, with respect to this field, it is all about end of the day, greed and fear. Human emotions will always be there as long as your money is
You are
involved.
just coding your emotions or gut
Absolutely.
feeling.
Right.
Yeah, in a way, when I told you that algos are started by humans and stopped by humans, and they are driven by greed and fear. And another factor that you have to consider is the infrastructure cost. Like when I'm just going to talk about arbitrage scenario, people said there is a risk-free money. Everybody started, putting their servers next to the co-location. The cost of fighting with each other went up. After a point of time, the cost of infrastructure and the return that you get generated will not become viable. So the the algos which are running at a certain infrastructure cost will move out because they cannot sustain it. Same thing will happen with algos. Like the people will come,
Nice point, yeah.
people will fight. They will try to see what is my risk to return in terms of what I'm getting from algo and what I'm getting from my infrastructure cost. If that gets too much, no, I'm not going to run my infrastructure.
So as you said, I think shorter time frame, like the more smaller time frame you're trading, that will get difficult.
That
It's
has got
more,
difficult.
yes,
Absolutely.
and it has already
and it is
gotten
getting
difficult.
more and more different.
And the more longer time frames you trade, it will be easier. So like I'll give you an example of Piyush. So like we were in Bangalore together. So I was actively trading the entire day, expiry. He was sleeping during market hours.
I was taking a nap.
3:30 हो गया.
I know him. I was saying go.
So like jokes
I had
apart,
taken my positions and I was taking a nap.
Yeah.
I had put my place my stop loss.
so he's like, I am trading like basically I am trading intraday and he's trading positionally. So I think the more like system which will be affected are basically who are trading very smaller time frames. Like for example, everyday expiry. So like my advice would be if someone is entering new, it would be like instead of going for these like weekly expiries, if you are just starting out new in option, I would say go for at least monthly or like at least far option, because there you at least understand how it's working. You get time to manage. In weekly, like you cannot get it wrong. Like now I think the room for error, the room for mistake is reducing every day. Like earlier 2 years ago you could like make a mistake and still you could go scot free. Now if you make a mistake, one adjustment is wrong, like you don't get time only. So I think with more algos, the shorter time frame definitely will get affected.
Algos really help in scalability. If you want to really scale up, there is no better option than algos. So, for instance, if you go back in time and you see, now this is a very crude example. People back then used to fight with what simple things like daggers, swords, bows and arrows. But then came British, they came with the gun. They were able to really scale up. They were able to colonize so much just with the power of a gun. Later came US with their atom bombs, and they are now the superpowers. So basically, the scalability, the reach that an algo can do. Now, even right now, you can fight with a dagger, you can fight with a sword. But what can be the territory you can protect? So right now, you cannot protect a large territory with a sword.
Let's put
You
it.
need.
So just taking it and extending his example, simple. Jaguar गाड़ी बनानी है जो physically manufactured. I have seen some videos. Rolls Royce, they actually fit that emblem by hand. Everything is done, and they can produce only this much. Because there's a human manual intervention. But when there is a machine like Hyundai or Sandro or anything, there is machine. It just keeps on producing. It's just machine, right? And same thing when you are talking about scalability. 1 point trader can handle say 5 crore, 10 crore, 50 crores. After that, his psychology will start deviating. तो एक जब भी स्केल की बात आएगी तो जब भी ड्रॉडाउन्स आएंगे, they will be fearful, they will be greedy. Those emotions will start playing because we people are not used to think in percentage. We are used to think in terms of numbers.
Exactly.
This is my 1 month salary. This
Yeah.
is my salary.
This is my entire year's expense.
Computer does not think that way. So be it 5 lakh, be it 50 lakh, be it 5 crore, be it 500 crores. For him, it's just I have to get out, I have to get out. It will not play things. So scalability
in
comes into
systems. What happened is with most of I'm sure the traders who are here and we are talking, you tend to get a little detached from the trade.
Yeah.
ये system नहीं तो when we take a trade ऐसा manually, मेरा trade है, मैंने टाटा मोटर्स लिया है. जब सिस्टम का ट्रेड है, एल्गो ने लिया है, वो 100 बार बाय भी उसमें 50-40 बार बाय आएगा, 60 बार बाय आएगा, 40 बार सेल आएगा. पर you tend to get detached from every single trade, which tends to, in the long run, I think,
the discipline remains, the scalability remains. So in a lot of ways, algo then remains. Basically, you are able to stick on the track.
So, with respect to Vishal or Vivek or me or Sourabh, the kind of trades we do will be mostly into options, or it will be mostly straddles or variations of any of those things, right? But with respect to yourself, you are specifically more into chart patterns and chart analysis.
Yes.
But now it is like people are shifting from that zone. Like earlier, if you come and plot an head and shoulder pattern or any of those patterns, people listen to it and people talk about it, right? But now, do you feel that these chart-based patterns are getting obsolete with respect to people's mind? Because there are no other platforms out there which specifically tells you about chart. There are TradingView, there are other platforms where you can see the price, they make trading decisions out of it. But there are other platforms out there specifically now coming into options. Chart doesn't play a vital role in options, right? Other than plotting a price. So what is your perspective about these charts and patterns and all those visual patterns with respect to options trading?
So with respect to options trading, it's difficult to say for me. But let's just talk about patterns first. So I do not see any change with respect to the pattern formations, whether I see 3 years ago what was happening or now. If a price movement is happening, the exhaustion will also happen. If the price is coming back, pulling back, the momentum parts will also work. If the price is going through a compression zone, the breakouts will also happen. Everything is happening as per the textbook in the similar formations. The only part that the new trader is finding it difficult is that these things take time to understand the chart patterns. There's probably less text on this, there's probably less information on this. Uh, Most of the YouTubers, most of the Instagram people, they are selling more of the options part.
Right.
So the options selling strategies, straddles, triangles, they have become the low hanging fruits. And the low hanging fruits do not yield a lot of money, but they are getting people into the market. Most of the stock market is what? Stock market is a dense jungle. Everyone starts from the same path. And within 2 to 3 years, 90% people get hunted. The predators hunt 90% of people. The ones who survive after that are then pick their streams, whether trading, investing, pick their strategies. Okay, no, I will go via chart patterns. No, I will go via options, but better strategies, wall strategies. So that path will come later. India is right now at a stage where people are entering the market. Less than 10% people are into the markets. Uh, Number of traders are less than 1%. So there's a lot of scope
Right.
for people to understand what the trading is. So in the trading patterns part of it, I do not see any change. But options world is probably getting saturated. The entry part of it.
Right. No, because and one more thing is, say, suppose if you talk about any of the trading strategy right now, be it straddles or strangles, you say, okay, you enter into a straddle at specific time, you use a stop loss. People go back and immediately backtest it because it can be quantified.
Right.
But when you say about a chart patterns which cannot be quantified, mostly it is a subjective with respect to person, which it could vary, right? So in that case, when it cannot be quantified clearly, it cannot be back tested. When it cannot be back tested, it cannot be automated, right? So how do you manage that specific part?
Like say a head and shoulder pattern. Can
So
you
something
backtest
like
a head?
no,
Or
no,
you
everything
do
can be quantified. Basically, everything can, even the patterns can be quantified. There's not even a single pattern that cannot be quantified.
Okay.
So the point is that you have to take an extra step to quantify it. Now, I don't trade head and shoulders or something, but let's just understand simple thing that if the price is moving in a particular direction, and I'll give you a very simple example that it comes back and retraces only about 38.2%, and then it goes into the sideways zone. Now you know that the stock has moved X territory, and then it has retraced only 38.2%. It has retraced less than 38.2%, and it's going to the flat territory. You know the high point, prior high point, you know the recent low point, and you know the zone from the prior pole. Everything has been
This can be
quantified.
quantified
It
compared
can
to
be
the normal
quantified.
visual patterns, right?
And then if the continuation, if the upper breakout is happening, that is a flag and pole breakout.
Right.
If someone intends to quantify, there's no
nothing
non-quantification
stop. As long
possibility.
as you can define
Yes.
what is a head and shoulder.
What is a head and shoulder? What is a flag and pole pattern? Everything can be quantified. In
Right.
fact, Elliott Waves 100 years ago quantified everything.
Right.
So there's no non-quantification possibility.
So there is this book by Thomas Bulwowski
Yes.
where he talks about encyclopedia of chart patterns, and he has actually quantified it.
And
Okay.
this
But it's
is
very tricky one. But yeah,
And
again
the
subjective.
pattern, and he has assigned the pattern
Patterns
side.
and
The
everything.
pattern side.
he has backtested all those patterns and he has written all the stats. This is pre 2010 published book. So
Right, right.
and he backtested all the classical patterns.
And
Adams
more-
and the Eames.
I think what I liked is that extra step thing which you said.
Right, which is
So,
not much
which-
tougher than compared to
Which many
So practically, so in fact, what I generally post on Twitter, I don't post all these specific parameters, but everything can be quantified. Everything has been quantified. So this is where you keep your edge.
right, right,
If you let out everything, where is your edge?
right. And moreover, no, with respect to algo trading, it's not that people are coming to algo trading specifically to make money out of it. The main movement or the point which it changed me to come into algo trading is specifically like during back then when I was trading manually. Whenever I buy a put option on Friday, the Saturday and Sunday is gone thinking about all about the markets. Like you don't even spend time with your friends, you don't even spend time with your family. All you want is the world to go down because you're about put options.
And you want the world to crash.
Yeah, you want
completely.
the world to crash, and Monday morning all you have to wait is like whether what happens. Friday night you keep checking what is happening in US markets. Monday morning you check from Japan, you come to Hong Kong, then you come to Singapore, which you don't have any control over it, but still you keep checking
Because
out
you
of
have a
it
position.
because you have open position which you can't afford to lose. If you're trading with one lot, you won't monitor
You
it.
won't.
Yeah.
But if it's
But if you're trading with a huge capital, so that day, like even though I was making profits in that trade, I realized that I end up spending so much of time worrying about what might happen instead of actual outcome. So then, what I have lost is not the actual money; it is the time. So if you are not in a panic mode, when you're specifically having set of rules, all you have to do is just execute the rules, follow the rules, where you will not ever go into this panic mode. So algo trading is not about creating a set of rules alone. You create a set of rules which not alone tells you when to buy and when to sell. It tells you how much to
would
buy.
you say when you make the rules, you want it to be kind of gelling with your personality or style?
Exactly, because finding a profitable strategy is easy, but finding a strategy which suits you is going to take a lot of time. It is about whether you're able to stick to that strategy during the rough phase, as Sourabh said, whether that is possible or not, will come over trial and error. Whether it adapts to your personality or not. Are you a person who is ready to jump in whenever there is a price moves, or are you kind of a person who will wait? Okay, I'll wait for some. For an example, if you're buying some TV or washing machine in Amazon, you're waiting for an offer to come, then which means that you are not ready to purchase at the current price. You are waiting for discounts. So by nature, your personality is you are waiting for particular price to come to your
So maybe
point.
a trend following.
So
is
more
not-
than trend following, you are okay with
Me
it.
version.
You buy the dip.
Yeah, that is kind of personality.
You're just buying the
But
dip.
then can be done with the discretionary as well, right?
So with discretionary, the problem is we met couple of discretionary traders today. I was amazed. Like I was telling these people that all 40 people are profitable traders, but they are sitting in front of a system from 9 to 3. Imagine sitting 6 hours a day non-stop, not even going out for a loo. Still they are making profits. But in my perspective, what they are doing is they are trading their health for their wealth. That's all. How long they can do it? Probably in a couple of years more. But that is not worth it. No.
The discretionary
But
traders are
then
not going to do like that for
But
sure.
then the other side of the coin, Kiru, is the kind of money that they make.
That is true. It is not the discretionary trader versus algo traders making profits or not. It is on what cost. So algo trading is you still make money out of it, but you still have enough
at
time to
some
manage.
point, if you think about it, over a period in an algo also there is discretion.
It is not emotionless.
It's
It is
not
still
like
there.
a day to day. Today I will buy or sell, or if this happens, but you have to choose what market you want to trade, how much size.
See, that
when
all
to
comes
change.
before you deploy an algo, right? Once you're
Right.
done with the algo, you're not going to keep on changing it, or you're not going to keep on observing it, right? Other than
But
I
I
want to tell you
would
something.
agree with Kiru that the number of discretionary traders who do well is few and fewer, but some of them may be doing exceptionally well
But I think
compared to an algo.
the discretionary who are profitable also, they have some rule, but like it's
Absolutely.
not
That's
quantified.
quantified.
There's no rule
Correct.
like
कुछ
okay
है वो
इतने which
maybe
I
back of the-
exit
they've
करना है.
never thought about
Yeah,
it.
because they
Exactly.
like the reaction time is also very quick. So like discretionary some अच्छा लिया देखेंगे सोचेंगे नहीं, like they know
they are not
suppose-
random traders.
Yeah,
They
in
like
fact,
definitely
this
have
happens
because
when
they
you-
have been doing so basically they are not back tested but they have live traded for so many years. They know कि भाई कैसे करना है.
This is what happens when
Yes.
you work with some traders on the automation of their
Yeah.
rules. First of all, they're like, अच्छा मेरे पास कोई rule नहीं है. I'm like, अच्छा तो आप जरा लिखिए पेपर पे. And then they actually
Yes.
get into that. It's a interesting process.
Yeah, because see, like you said, like because I met these prop desk guys, like everyone's like profitable. Like those are because if they're not profitable, they won't be sitting. But all 350 were trading different strategies. Some in stocks, some other. But like everyone had some rule. Like the rules were not quantified, but they know कि ये होगा तब हम लोग ऐसा करेंगे. जब ऐसा spike आएगा तब position बनाएंगे. So they trade on vol, trade on price, but there's some rules.
Would you
are
say
there.
ultimately
rules are-
risk management is the
I
mother
think
The
of
yes.
all
rules,
Risk-
rules are the simple, cut your losses
Yes.
short, let your winner
ultimately
Exactly.
You can put a
risk
layer of
management layer
anything.
ultimate layer है.
But even in the early days of markets, there used to be, now they are called scalpers, or back then they were called jobbers. And they were trading on NSE and BSE, Bolt,
And
NEET.
they still
They
are
had
some
no
jobbers.
charts. They were just trading price. And there were no strategies.
Yeah.
There were no strategies. There was excess leverage.
There was strategy which is cut your losses.
This
Still is the few jogging
the
forms
future.
of
This is
still do very
this is
well.
a surviving
One-
strategy
for everyone.
forever.
Yeah, being
For
in
us.
markets is all about survival.
Yeah.
I told you today morning,
Right.
right? Today morning, I'll ask questions to these fellows.
Yeah.
Okay. See, if at all tomorrow if there is a specific
So you have
event.
prepared a set already.
No, even talking
No,
about
his mind is
already
his mind is
smart.
very complex
Curious.
machine.
And
Curious.
he was not
Curious.
also not even going to participate in this. I mean, so this is
because I don't want to, because he has already
conspiracy theory.
participated.
You've done a conspiracy theory.
You kind, for an example, tomorrow if there is some event which has happened like in the past where the complete species has gone out, like dinosaurs were there and that was gone out because some asteroids were eating the earth. Consider tomorrow if that happens, and
Dystopian
every single human is going to die, okay, and every single species is going to die. But there was a complete study done by Stanford that almost all the species will die if that happens except one species.
Cockroach.
Exactly. Why cockroach?
Cockroaches can survive.
Survival
Exactly. No matter whether it is the largest animal or the fastest animal, that doesn't matter in this field. It is the cockroach, the one who survives, one who is able to hide, or no one who is able to cut loss when there is something extremely going against you. So market is exactly like
So
that.
did we get it right?
No, but media can kill. Media can kill the cockroach. You can take the newspaper and kill.
No,
the
but
cockroach.
media is nobody left.
But
Nobody is left,
I'm
right?
very curious to get one answer from him. Is who is to verify whether cockroach is
There is some AI drone which is capturing this in a feed in the post-apocalyptic
No, it is
world.
based on the study of all this. They call it acrophobia. Acrophobia is like if you are afraid of insects. Based on that, they have certain studies based on all these insects and everything. So they, based on that study, they were able to conclude this is the only species which will survive because that is by default it is there in the.
Is that DNA?
So by default, the traders, if they make a trade, the first thing they shouldn't ask is how much I'm going to make. You don't ask the question. How much you're going to lose in that trade.
Yeah,
That will help you to survive in the long run.
absolutely.
I have a question. Sorry, I know you have.
Done.
Okay.
Question me.
We are talking about algos. We are talking about options. But what are we talking about? Like investment. Like I started with ETFs now because I'm a big profounder of Ken Slim. I started working on it, and then eventually I started moving more towards ETF. I think I got inspired by Kiru saying that I'm going to only invest into
So
ETFs.
Ken Slim is in simple.
Ken
words,
Slim is basically, there is this guy called as William O'Neill. Still a very interesting stuff. So I
He's
want
no
to
more,
take
I
your
guess.
view.
Yeah.
He's no more, unfortunately. So what he did was like what he was talking about. Okay, every trader has rules. He went and checked कि every trader तो छोड़ दो, every multi-bagger has a certain characteristics. Okay, before they become multi-bagger, Xerox became 1000%. There was a company, I was reading that book, he was making the toilets for the airplane. It became multi-bagger because at that point of time that was the innovation. Right. Then he talked about like railroads and all that stuff. So he figured out there are certain investment philosophies that works very well. And he boiled down to something called as Ken Slim.
And quantifying those.
And
investments.
quantifying. So C stands for current earning, A stands for annual earning, and
new product or
new
market or
product,
something.
new management, or a new 52-week high. That is a technical
exactly.
parameter. Supply and demand, leader or laggard, institutional, and market direction. This is one way of doing investment. What are you in terms of when you talk about investment? How do you guys do investment?
See, there is two options. One is whenever there is an opportunity, for an example, COVID kind of thing when it strikes, that you have to make use of it, right? So, but for that, you should keep accumulating certain cash. The other part is doing an SIP part. Like you can either do it in specific stocks, do it in mutual funds, or whatever it is. I have done every single research related to investments because I wanted to make it as an habit that at least 20% of what I make every month should go to SIP. I wanted to invest that. I don't wanted to rely on that for my retirement, but that I just wanted to make it as an habit, so that you can just pass on to your friends, your kids, like how our parents gave properties to us. Likewise, you generate certain wealth, kind of a liquid wealth, where when anytime when they wanted to liquidate, they can liquidate. So in that case, when you are going to invest, not just 5 years or 10 years, if you are going to invest for 25 years, 30 years, and then pass on that wealth to your other generations, you have to be very, very certain. Okay, this is going to make money. But with markets, there is no way that you can be certain that this industry is going to be there. For an example, in 1900 to 1920, there were almost 2,000 automobile companies. 2,000. Out of that, almost only 2 or 3 survived. None of them survived, and most of them are bankrupt. None of them were there. So I read an interesting article. Once I read that, I finalized that I'm not going to invest in no stocks, even though there is a statistics that no 85% of the fund managers are not going to beat the index funds and all those things are there. But see, during 1800s, there was no a massive industry. We have manufacturing service industry, right? During 1800s, there was one industry. It is nothing but I'll tell you what that industry later on. But there was one person, I forgot his name, but that guy is a captain, ship captain. So he goes on sailing. He takes of some 10 or 15 sailors with him. He travels to deep oceans where he'll hunt for big whales. Their main goal is to hunt a bigger whale and hunt as many as possible and put it into their ship and come back, because it is not only for meat or consumption purpose. During 1800s, there was no petroleum, no crude oil, no diesel, nothing. Most of these whales which they hunt, there are certain waxes in it which has been a byproduct for industrial users and other users. So the moment you hunt a one whale, that is more than enough for them to get settled at least for next 8 years or 10 years. That much money they can make. So this guy went on and he was trying to look for these whales, and there was some storm hit. But unfortunately, there was problem with the ship. All 15 people used the lifeboat trying to escape from there. And they were trying to come back to the place, but it was a deep ocean. They couldn't come back. Only 2 people were there, and some one by one people, because of starving, they started dying. Eventually, some 5 people were there. When they were before they reached the destination, 2 guys said, "No, there is some island nearby. Let me get down. There is a higher probability that I might survive here staying in this island rather than trying to find where the land is." So those 2 people went up. There were other 3 people where they're trying to go, and out of the 3, 2 also died. Only the captain was there. Somehow he was found by some other ship. He was survived. He took such a big risk because that whale hunting is one of the top 5 industries at that time, which makes huge revenue. And during 1800s, that complete century, whale hunting industry was the top 5 industry. By 1900, once they found crude oil and everything, people have this alternate for this industrial and industrial revolution happened, everything happened, and that industry itself has gone out now. So now whale hunting is what at the max you can just eat, and no people hunt the whale and eat now. So that whole industry got wiped out in just couple of years once crude oil and other invention came in. Similarly, like in each and every time, whenever there is some revolution happens, some industry will go bust. There is no way that you can tell which industry is going to last long. For at least 5 years, 10 years, somehow you can say. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, there is no way that you can say. But there is only, to a certain extent, a conviction that you can have is index funds, which is on the long run, as long as the economy does well, as long as the specific index can also go well. Exceptional is Japan index, which is during 1918 still.
That is an exception.
Talking about actually.
So that way it helps. Okay, I don't want to pick which stocks, because not only picking the stocks, exiting at the right time matters. So by fixing it, the index stocks, it doesn't matter,
So
right?
to add to what you were saying, after we moved to market capitalization based index, free float. Nifty is the ultimate trade for
In a way, yes.
Nifty is the best stock.
I mean,
for-
like the survival of the fittest thing. जो fit नहीं है वो निकल जाएगा या उसका weight कम होएगा. जो strong है उसका weight बढ़ेगा. So I mean, it's the ultimate trend following.
So
I totally agree on that part. Additionally, my thesis is always last 10 years I've only followed Elliott waves, long-term monthly charts. Wherever I see 3x, 4x possibilities, I start investing. I will start building up there.
So call it the dumb invest. If you think about it, just buy the index, but it can
Yeah,
it's a
actually,
it makes a lot of sense.
Also in
I
his
mean,
book said that I learned one thing, Warren Buffett, that I learned one thing from Benjamin Graham is that you don't have to be extraordinary smart to make a lot of money. Like even simple things in markets, like if you see, like you were talking about LTCM, so like these guys were the smartest, but yet they lost. So it's not only because this is a field which is difficult, because it's not about intelligence. There are a lot of things which actually can, like emotions cannot be quantified. Like as he's like, we could be sitting together trading the same system. He could be making money, other guy could not be making money, because like he would react to emotion. अरे यार ऊपर आके यहाँ से तो पलट जाएगा या नीचे चला गया.
There was this, remember that one guy who beat a lot of the institutions and all, सबको मतलब एकदम ultimate performance था. तो 1960s में कुछ उसने चालू किया. He started in 1960s or something. Finally, it turned out that it was because the guy was dead. I mean, stock, you would know some of our
So there's a joke also about
they don't make their physical shares electronic also. There are some of our, if you see our
So if you see
Full
like there's a
कि
joke
बिकेगा ही नहीं, physical पड़ा है.
कि Parsis लोग हैं, they have made
The
lot
biggest
multi-bagger
fortune.
return because
They don't
like,
sell.
yeah, they don't sell, and like बहुत सारे like because if you have physical shares like one of like my mama was saying like one of his shares had become 50x physic like even like यार physical में बेचने अगर account में होता तो like 1x में बिक जाता.
No, but this is also luck, because in 90s most of the people who bought in 1990s those physical shares could not get a demat or whatever. There were a lot of companies that went bankrupt.
Yes.
Yeah,
A lot of
it's
companies.
luck.
So whatever survived went up 10x,
Yes,
20x, 30x,
yes.
50x. But a lot of companies also went
Yes.
bankrupt.
And it's
That's what
it's
you
that
know,
survivorship
survivorship
bias
bias.
thing.
Ah,
We
so
only
you don't
see-
remember all those
Correct.
companies.
Yes.
Because we
Absolutely.
always tend to
We-
assume that we are the one who are buying those 10x, 20x.
Ah.
We'll not
And we
be-
have that life-changing algo
Right,
version.
right,
With
right.
that, we got.
Okay. So like what just Saurabh was saying, so trading is an art, not a science or a maths. Okay. So like with this, I just want to ask a last concluding question with you all. In simple words, in one or two lines, what can we say? These are the do's and don'ts for the algo trader.
Okay. First of all, I want to answer that question.
Sure,
Trading is an
please.
art or a science? It's an art.
Ah.
You have to turn it into a science.
Okay.
Okay, because when we build an algos, we actually trade them, and most of the time I lose money. Okay, and I'll be very candid. I have been candid throughout, but during that journey, I learned what not to do. Because when my real money is put in a small quantities, trading up and downs and everything, I started building hypotheses about the market. Okay, whether when I do this it works, when I do this it doesn't work that way, and then it starts getting into science. So first it is art, then into a science. Do's and don'ts of algos. First of all, that is the most important thing. You have to be a trader. In terms of don't directly jump into systems. That's my philosophy. People can kind of differ from it, but I do trade small quantities every time to get the feel of the market and build my hypothesis, and as Kiru says, my style. What's my style? That's the most important thing. Build your algos based on your styles. And then once you have it, you backtest them, don't optimize or don't curve fit them. People ask me what is the holy grail. For me, the holy grail is uncorrelated or a lowly correlated system, because that helps me to survive in the market, be that cockroach, to survive for a longer period of time, and that's for me, that's a holy grail. So every time when we add a strategy, the question that we asked ourselves, when we say we have a team as well, we ask this question is whether that adds another dimension. If the market all of a sudden becomes too much mean diverting and our strategies were trend following, is it adding value to us? If the answer is yes, even if it is giving smaller returns, not big return like the other one, it adds value to us because it's cut down our drawdown and helps in survivability. So that's do's. Don'ts. Don't assume algos is going to always make money. That's the most biggest lie that is ever been told to you. These are just a way of thought process that you kind of build it up. Yeah.
So my do's would be find something which suits you, test it enough. It's your own real hard-earned money. Go slow. Or if you feel this is not for me and you find a professional, give that to the professional to manage. That could be in do's. I don't think take a middle path because it's a cutthroat world. Cutthroat place. There are professionals on the other side जिनका रोजी रोटी इस पे निर्भर है. In terms of don'ts, I think it's just that making money might be easy or you might be lucky or for years, but very few people can retain money over a period of time or long periods of time in stock market. Not just algo, it could be investing, it could be anything. So just be thankful but retaining money is difficult.
Okay.
See, with respect to algo trading do's and don'ts, first thing is don't follow any experts. Just because we 5 people are sitting here and talking about something, the by default they tend to have an assumption. Okay, this guy said okay, probably trading stop loss doesn't work. So what they'll tend to think is they'll not even explore that path because this specific expert has said that this doesn't work. So nobody knows anything in this market.
Correct.
Whatever you know, the same thing he knows. So you did not get an opportunity to sit in front of a camera. We got, that's all we are explaining. So whatever people are explaining is their perspective. What they have gone through from their perspective, they say it works, it doesn't work. So when you say some such experts, you trust but verify. Go back and verify whether what they have said is right or not. If it fine, go ahead. If not, verify. I mean, if it is not right, then you bring in your own analysis, then go forward. That is something that you should do. And what you should do is like more than making money or more than profits in anything, it is the time that you are going to save. That is what for me the topmost priority is. See, I can still sit and trade whatever the systems that I've traded manually, but at one point of time, say suppose if you are bombarded with 10, 15, 20 different algos running in a single day, consider that you have put in your whole capital in that 15 different algos. Suddenly API goes down and you have to manage all those 15 algos manually by yourself. Will you be able to do it? Ask yourself. So you run a drill. So just like how people run a drill in a fire drill, right? So run a drill whether you are able to manage those 15 particular algos, you are able to do it manually on any single day, normal calm day. Even in a calm day, if you are not able to manage those 15 algos manually, no way you are going to manage your systems if API goes down. So try to have that kind of backup. So don't bombard with so many algos, because if definitely there will be some days where these kind of incidents would happen. On that day, if you're not able to manage and something bad happens, it could easily wipe out 30 or 40% of your capital in a single day. So try. So since I mean, just because it has not happened in the past, it might not happen in the future. That is your assumption, but try to have this perspective also. These two things is the major part with respect to algo trading.
Piyush, what are the do's and the don'ts for the?
So in the do's part of it, I would say that take a lot of time to build the algo, because once you are basically starting to build a trading system, you're beginning with you build some parameters, you observe some charts, you go back test, then you live observe, fine tune it. This entire process of building a trading system is probably 6 months to 1 year at least for a time period. Because only then you will be able to build your conviction to it. Automating it is very easy. Automating is not a most difficult task these days, but your conviction is the most important part here. But you should be able to stick to the algo during all times, during various cycles of the markets. The major don'ts in this algo is that don't really fiddle with parameters a lot. Don't try to curve fit. So that's the people try to curve fit with those 14 RSIs becoming 11 RSIs or 18 RSIs or 7 RSIs. So those parameters will not matter, because whatever your core functionality of that algo is, the profitability will eventually be around that part only. Will eventually move around that only. So you, don't curve fit, and most importantly, build your conviction around your system.
Sourabh?
So my do's would be like, if you see like with a lot of so many expiry, what people are doing is like one day they'll trade Sensex, one day they'll trade mid cap. So what I have figured out is, for a beginner, you have to need to stick to one or two liquid instruments rather than going after everything that okay, 5 days expiry, every day I'll make this much percent. Stick to one instrument, because see, every instrument is a different way of behaving. The way Bank Nifty behaves, Sensex, mid cap will behave in a very different manner. So at least, for example, Bank Nifty, I'm talking like, so since May 2016, the weekly options are there. So you have a lot of data. Suppose if you're trading only expiry, so try to analyze data. As he was talking that like you need proof, right? So there's a quote also: "In God I trust. Rest for everything else, bring me data." So once you have data, for